Well, let's get into a review of Atrocious, which is a Spanish-Mexican co-production, Mexican director now based in Barcelona. I mean, two things. Firstly, calling the film Atrocious is always a complicated thing. It's like there are some movies whose titles you just think, don't do that, because you're just inviting people to say, yes, reviews itself. Atrocious is not atrocious, but it isn't any good. It's yet another found footage movie. So the story is at the beginning...
Like Troll Hunter.
Well, hang on, let's get to Troll Hunter, because Troll Hunter is, in a way, everything that Troll Hunter is, this isn't. The story is there's a brother and sister, and they go off to Sitges. Sitges, obviously, is where, the Sitges Horror Film Festival is, so the whole thing is kind of geared around that as well.
Is that a famous horror film?
Yeah, it is, very famous. I mean, yes.
How famous?
Well, it's for a long... I mean, it's probably now been surpassed, I would say, by Fright Fest here, which I think is the premier international horror film festival. But Sitges and Dylan Dog in Milan previously, but Sitges has been known as a sort of fancy film festival for ages and ages. So the story is a brother and sister and their mother go to a big, rambling old Catalan house, which is falling down, somehow part of the family. He is interested in making documentaries about urban myths, okay? So we get an awful lot of stuff, the video footage about, I want to make stuff about urban myths, and the urban myth that he's investigating is the story of a red-coated girl who disappeared in the local woods, and the idea is that if you get lost in those woods, the girl will appear and she will somehow show you the way, or maybe she will do something else, maybe she will lead you astray, maybe she isn't a ghost, maybe in fact she's a demonic presence. He's building up this whole sort of idea of the urban, and then about 40 minutes through, it sort of abandons that idea and goes off somewhere completely different into a whole other story, which is all over the place. Here's the problem. At the beginning of the film, you see the very end of the film, just like little frames, and then it's as if the whole movie rewinds, and then it gets to a thing which says this is, police footage, and what you're watching therefore is found. So it goes with quite elaborate business about making it found footage stuff. In the press notes, it says they started out doing something else, and then, and this is just, the key phrase, it says, in December, Fernando and I watched a DVD of Paranormal Activity. At the end, we turned to each other and said, we can do this for Atrocious. And it's like, yeah, here's the problem with the whole found footage thing. The found footage genre goes way, way back. I mean, at the risk of repeating myself, Cannibal Holocaust, famously found footage, a pretty horrible movie in many ways, but a found footage motif. That then turns up in The Last Broadcast and famously in the Blair Witch Project. Then we see the faux documentary thing being used in, for example, Paranormal Activity. And there cannot be anyone around anymore who hasn't seen one of those found footage documentaries. And the best thing about Troll Hunter is that Troll Hunter actually manages to do something. It says, like, we know everybody knows the format. We know everybody understands convection. So in that case, let's do something interesting. Let's make it about a troll hunter. Let's make it that it's all shot like handheld video and grainy, but the thing they're up against is trolls, proper trolls, big three-headed, big-nosed trolls. Foldy roll, who do indeed turn to stone or rapidly calcify when exposed to sunlight. And that, as I said, that marvellous thing in Troll Hunter about if he can smell the blood of a Christian man, can he smell the blood of a Muslim? And the scientist going, I actually don't know the answer to that question. But what you have with Atrocious is it's as if, well, we saw Paranormal Activity and we thought we can do that, but everybody else saw Paranormal Activity. And when I saw Paranormal Activity, I thought, yes, I saw that done a million times before in Blair Witch. So you end up with the night vision footage, the video camera footage running. You get people. You also get the problem which we all now have, that the build-up in the faux documentary stuff is now just boring. I mean, Paranormal Activity 2, you thought, I'm going to have to sit here for an hour of every now and then a pot falling off a shelf before some bad stuff happens, and then a door will go bang. I remember seeing Blair Witch for the first time in Edinburgh and genuinely thinking, oh, you knew that it wasn't found. They say the whole thing at the beginning that this is found footage, but you knew that it wasn't. But it had that sort of air of verisimilitude about it, which really worked. And the fact that the three people centrally at the heart of Blair Witch were so annoying didn't make any difference at all, because you sort of bought into it. To make Atrocious now, after all this time, after everything else has passed, it just seems like, yeah, fine, you know what? A couple of teenagers could have gone out and done it. There is almost nobody now who, if you gave them a video camera and a big house with some woods and a night vision light and a special effects department that could make something go bang loudly, and then there's a well which is a bit like Ringo, it's like, come on, this is no longer enough. I mean, this is headed obviously straight for the DVD, but even I felt like, for all, I mean, the one good thing about it was at the very beginning you see a couple of scenes which look like, oh blimey, this is going to be one of those nasty, horrible, what they call torture porn, blah. And it isn't that. It genuinely isn't. There was a sense of relief about that. Also the fact that it's called Atrocious, and there's a thing at the beginning that says atrocious means violent, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't happen. It doesn't turn out to be that film. It does turn out to be more about suggestion. The problem is it's suggesting things that were suggested over and over again. I mean, I think we have...
What's it suggesting?
it's suggesting that, oh, there might be, or there might not be. We don't, hey, look, it's real because it's found footage. It's found footage. I mean, but it's like, yes, we've seen all of this a bazillion times, and please, can we now have, what's the word, a moratorium on found footage documentary, faux documentaries. It's just, and to go to all the trouble of having the thing at the beginning and then rewinding and then pretending that it's a police thing. I mean, it even ties into what Alan Shackleton did with Slaughter, and what then ended up being called snuff back in the 1970s. Everyone knows all this stuff is fake. Can we just move on?